He's got a boxing license. Conor McGregor. I tell you what, before I get into the actual context of what he's doing, he just knows how to always keep himself relevant. I know he just won double belts, right? He double belt champion and get one taken away from him. And then UFC's going through this whole union process. But he just always finds a way to one-up them. Just be like, nah, my news is more important here. So let's take a look at this. Conor McGregor filed for and obtained a boxing license in California. But
that's the important part.
He might not stop there. There's rumors that are going around he's going to try and get it in other states.
Of course. So let's get into a few things to address off the top. What does this mean? Right now, nothing. It doesn't. It's just the truth of the matter. There's no boxing promotion set up yet. There's no Mayweather versus McGregor fight actually happening anytime in the near future, and I mean that in the next 6 months. There's no fight to be arranged between Andre Ward and Conor McGregor or an amateur boxer and Conor McGregor at the Forum. What's amazing about this, though, is that Conor McGregor can take a boxing fight against any, and I mean any, mediocre to the boxing level fighter in California, let's say at the Forum or the Staples Center or the Coliseum. And I promise you, it would do more pay-per-view buys than Kovalev versus Ward did.
Yeah.
And he can't deny it. Kovalev versus Ward, 200,000 pay-per-view buys. The most important boxing fight of this year, also goes down as probably one of the best boxing fights of this year, was crap in terms of buys, in terms of people's interest outside to go and pay for that fight.
The prelims for UFC 205 trucked that boxing card. I mean, we're fans of boxing. At the moment, my British boxing side is peaked at the moment because David Haye, what did I say? Peaked. David Haye and Tony Bellew got into it. We know that's going to be
Tony Belland.
It's going to be an interesting fight. Tony Belland. Tony Bellew, you may know him from being in Creed, but he's a great boxer.
UK boxer.
It's interesting to see how that thing pans out. But Conor McGregor, you hit the nail on the head. What he's doing here means nothing at the moment other than one simple word.
Oh, well, yeah.
Leverage.
Thank you.
That is it. That is the key word to talk about with Conor McGregor, as he always has done. Some things he does, I don't agree with. When he announced his retirement, didn't agree with it, condemned him for it. But this example is simply leverage. He's going through a monopoly match at the moment with the UFC. How do we work out what his value is? He doesn't want to be valued based on how many pay-per-view buys or anything else or how many people he fills to a stadium. He wants to be valued above everyone else to the point that he has a stake in the company. He announced that. We were in the press conference. He said it. I want a stake. I want in. We have celebrities. Mark Wahlberg was asked, can Conor McGregor get in? He's like, I'll give him my shares. The guy deserves a piece. Like, this is a company that has been, since it's sold for a ridiculous amount of money, pieces have been handed out to those behind the camera. Conan O'Brien has some money, has a stake in the UFC.
And then that's what's such an amazing thing about WME, IMG owning or having such a big stake in the UFC right now is that there's recognizable names.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't WME, IMG, like guys like Wahlberg and Conan, which are famous celebrities, right?
Yes.
And it was whatever. I'm going to throw out Lucas Oil, who bought Forrest Lucas, and Lucas Oil bought the UFC, right?
Yeah.
Well, then those famous celebrity names with all that money, they wouldn't be existent.
Yeah.
It would just be whatever. John Doe, who's not a famous celebrity to the common person, would have that stake, and I don't think they would see it that way. So it actually works out even more in McGregor's favor that Ari Emanuel has such a big stake in the UFC right now. And on top of that, the whole battle with what's going to be, it's going to get ugly, man. CAA secretly financing part of the Mixed Martial Arts Athletes Association because it's impossible for them to support the Mixed Martial Arts Athletes Association without actually giving them money. Support means money. Like, it's synonymous. So, at least in this context. But in terms of McGregor's boxing license, I wanted to get to Bob Arum, who, of course, is one of the most famous promoters and biggest player in boxing promotions at the moment.
He's always been.
Top 3 biggest player. He's been there forever.
Pulls every string.
Let's get to his quotes. McGregor is dealing with a monopoly situation with the UFC.
As
you're alluding to. He has got to have leverage if he's going to get paid what he wants. He's not going to go out and become his own promoter and stage his own fights in mixed martial arts. So his only leverage is to say he is going to be a boxer and try to panic the UFC into a better deal. His next quote of this was there are two different sports, and based on past experience, it is madness to think that he could step right in without any problem. However, if he could listen to reason and come in and fight an entry level, and then there could be something to work with. To think he could come and fight one of the best fighters ever, Mayweather, right away would be ludicrous, and he's right.
Of course.
I mean, what I think McGregor is trying to do is make the UFC really think he's going to step into the ring with Mayweather. And the reason for that is because he wants to make the UFC believe that he would get humiliated by Floyd Mayweather and his ass beat. Now, I cannot hear any, and I almost refuse to hear an argument that they would go toe-to-toe and it would be a fight between Mayweather and McGregor right now. As his first ever boxing fight, he would get his ass beat for so many reasons outside just the respect of disciplines for two entirely different sports, right? But if he scares the UFC into thinking this at all, if he believes that he's going to do this and step into the ring just once with any other fighter, he still probably would lose if it's a top-tier fighter. But if it's any other fighter, and then shows them, I know this is down the road, that it can do more than 200,000 pay-per-view buys, there's a lot of money. There is so much money in boxing, and you know for a fact that he can't get a contract or any kind of promotional sense on his side. He can't. He's under UFC contract. He has a boss, Dana White. He cannot do that right now. But he can scare him.
He was unceremoniously stripped of one of his belts that he fought so long to obtain. He wanted to be put into the history books as a fighter who was able to win 2 belts at 2 different weight classes. He did that. And I think he wanted to hold on to it longer than, 2 or 3 weeks. But he now, in a way, had lost his leverage because that belt was taken and given back over to that division. He still holds the lightweight title. So Conor McGregor always likes to be a step ahead of every other fighter in that division. Do I think that he has other plans to potentially go to boxing? I actually kind of do. Not at the moment, but in the future, I think that Conor McGregor likes to be that man that pushes boundaries. He likes to be the man that goes forward and does things that you won't imagine to be realistic at all. The things that we talked about, right, is that I do think we need to clarify at some point the complete difference of the art, as we know. Like, he steps into the boxing ring, he really needs to spend, I would even think, the best part of a year to 2 just simply perfecting how you adjust your body to not rely on your legs as a means to help you get a breather at times when he's in the octagon. Leg kicks to wear down your opponent, get away. Size of the gloves, the weight. Just relying on the fact that your upper body is relying on being able to withstand a lot of the pressure you're going to be faced by your opponent. You can't use your legs to kick someone away or wear down an opponent. You have to use your legs to stabilize yourself, and that's it. And this is something that through many years, if you've been through boxing workouts, you know it's a completely different idea of cardio that you need to really get used to. And I'm not saying that MMA doesn't rely on cardio, of course it does. I'm just saying it's a different. It's just completely different.
Different. No, it's not baseball to football. Like, there's not entirely different set of rules.
No, it doesn't. But things will carry over.
One of the things that Mayweather is so damn good at is carrying a fight to 12 rounds and never having to look for a knockout in his later stage of his career. So let's put that in perspective. Very few times has McGregor gone 25 minutes in the octagon over 5 5-minute rounds. Has he ever gone 36 minutes? I know shorter rounds, you get a little breather, so you get some more time to spend, but 36 minutes in a boxing ring?
Trying to hit someone that's...
With one of the 5 greatest boxers who doesn't get hit? Like, I think
baffling.
It's a great scare tactic. Make Dana White believe that he's going to step into a ring with Mayweather. By the way, here's one way it could happen. You'd have to have Mayweather Promotions put on the fight.
Yeah.
And you'd have to have Mayweather be willing to say, whatever they want to sue you for in the UFC, we'll pay it off. Because you're talking about a fight that would, how much money are we talking? Like,
I don't even know.
It was an inconceivable amount to think that the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight reached groundbreaking numbers for just Mayweather and Pacquiao to step into the ring. McGregor-Mayweather would top that.
Oh,
because
no
it would
doubt.
cause so much controversy, headlines, talk, and hype. And truthfully, even though McGregor, I think, would get his ass kicked by Mayweather, I think it'd still be a better fight than Mayweather-Pacquiao. I do. I think it would be a better fight. Just to see if he gets a couple clean shots, which I think he would, onto Mayweather. Just to see if he could maybe make him stumble for a second.
Yeah.
Just that moment.
Just hypothetically, when you're carrying over the things that he needs to work on, there's a lot of things that he'll be able to carry over to boxing that would, of course, go in his favour. He has
His
easily
reach,
one of the best
2-inch reach
left
on
hands
Mayweather.
That we've seen in the UFC. He has got incredible punching power. He's got, as you mentioned, fantastic reach, his striking ability, his ability to evade punches and evade. Like, it's the thing, yeah, the gloves are going to be heavier, and he's at risk of being hit a lot more, simply going toe-to-toe with someone who can strike with him, but no one can stand with him in the UFC. And let's remember, a lot of UFC fighters have been boxers. A lot of UFC fighters have been Muay Thai. Like, they carry over a lot of the same fundamentals. It's just going to be a completely different way of adjusting your body so that he can, like, let's look at it in context. McGregor tried to jump up a weight class and he was gassed out. Like, he didn't know. That was one of the things that completely threw him over. So if he goes back, if he was to go over to boxing, I would imagine that McGregor would stay right where he is about now, his weight.
I think it's 100. I think if it were for 151 pounds, it makes sense.
All right, well, we want to know what you think. What did you take from Conor McGregor obtaining a boxing license in California? Do you think this is setting the way for a potential super fight in the future, or do you think he's just trying to scare Dana White into giving him more stake in the UFC? Hit us in the comments.
What fight do you want to see McGregor fight? Who?
Next one.
Khabib, Diaz, Mayweather, Ward? That's what I'm curious about. Who do you want to see him fight?
Hit us in the comments. Let us know on Twitter at TOIT Sports, at JasonRubin91 and at Francis_Maxwell. And we'll see you guys soon.